every World Cup delivers moments of pure athletic brilliance. In 2018, for example, Kylian Mbappe hit a top speed of 37 kilometers per hour against Argentina, and that's faster than most people can ride a bicycle. In 2022, Morocco's Youssef En-Nesyri jumped nearly 3 meters, almost twice of his own height, to head the ball past Portugal's goalkeeper, and that vertical leap sent Morocco to their first ever World Cup semifinal. But then there's Croatian midfielder Marcelo Brozovic. In a single knockout match against Japan, he ran 16.7 kilometers, and that's more than any player in World Cup history. But then 4 days later, against Brazil, he ran another 15.7 kilometers. So what does it actually take to prepare the human body for the World Cup? Today, I'm meeting Humber students, subject matter experts, to learn about the polytechnics of athletic performance. My first stop is the Humber's Exercise Prescription Laboratory, where performance isn't just trained, it's tracked, monitored, measured, analyzed, and fine-tuned. Julia, how can you determine if an athlete is ready to perform on a given day?
So we measure readiness using baseline testing. When we know what an athlete's normal performance looks like, then we can use that to determine how prepared they are for practice, training, or competition.
So something like a jump test can tell you that?
Yeah, exactly. If their jump height drops compared to their baseline from the beginning of the season, that can indicate fatigue or insufficient recovery. From there, we'd adjust their programming, limit playing time, or give them a full day off.
But Dylan, soccer isn't just about endurance, because players like Tenzin, they're sprinting, turning, reacting again and again.
Yeah, these movements create neuromuscular fatigue, which impacts the speed and force a player can produce. If we watch Tenzin perform his reps here, we can actually see here the velocity he's training at.
Oh, so this is why players slow down late in a match.
Yes, we use tools like accelerometers and velocity-based training. This ensures that you're performing quality repetitions that will have a real impact on your performance.
So every rep has to count?
That's our goal. We want quality over quantity. We want to maximize your performance while mitigating fatigue. Each position relies on different motor skills, so every training program is unique to the player's role and the coach's strategy.
And then there's the mental side of the game, which we refer to as cognition. So you just did a burpee and went right into a light test, which was measuring your decision making and reaction time under fatigue.
And you know, it's actually way harder than it looks, because when you're tired, reaction times really drop.
Exactly. That's the difference between making the right play or missing it. For example, there have been 5 World Cup finals that have gone into extra time. In high pressure moments like that, athletes really depend on their trainers to help prepare them to go the extra mile.
So just like a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout, completely exhausted after 120 minutes, but still needs to react instantly.
Exactly, and that's what we study for. Athletes' conditioning is developed using performance science. So things like anatomy, biomechanics, biometrics, nutrition, and physiology. There's a whole ecosystem of fitness and health professionals behind every World Cup journey.
So Diego, let's talk about energy. How can athletes sustain that much running?
Well, soccer is primary aerobic, so we measure their VO2 max, which is how well they use oxygen to produce energy. The higher the VO2 max, the longer they can delay the start of fatigue. It also helps with recovery.
So this is pretty much like the athlete's engine.
Exactly. If the engine works, everything else follows. Athletes work with group of trainers to condition their bodies to improve their VO2 max.
After all that, recovery becomes just as important. Like Chantel here, she is performing her stretches. So Julia, what does recovery look like at the level of professional athlete?
Yeah, recovery programming includes lots of things like nutrition, hydration, sleep, compression garments, cold water immersion, low intensity exercise, and sometimes even meditation. And then there are psychologists on staff as well that help make sure athletes' mental health is being cared for.
Oh, wow, so recovery is not just, resting, but there's an actual plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And if athletes skip their recovery, it just increases their risk of injury. And at the World Cup, where matches are so close together, it becomes even more important. Proper recovery allows athletes to perform consistently across the entire tournament.
Thank you so much, Diego, Dylan, and Julia. At the highest level, performance doesn't just happen by accident. It's built by expert trainers who monitor, measure, and optimize athletes. I'm Fernando, and this is the Polytechnics of Soccer.